You don't pull away because you don't care. You pull away because caring feels like stepping onto thin ice, and you've learned it can crack without warning, and that changes everything. Because to everyone else, it looks like distance, it looks like silence, it looks like mixed signals, but inside you, it feels like survival. Picture this. You're getting close to someone. The conversations are easy, the connection feels real. There's a moment, maybe small, where you realize this could actually mean something. And then something shifts. You start replying slower. You overthink what you say. You feel this quiet pressure building in your chest, like something is getting too close, too fast. So you step back. Not dramatically, not obviously, just enough to breathe again. And you tell yourself you're just being careful. But later, you wonder why you always do this. Why something good suddenly starts to feel heavy. Here's what's really happening. This isn't random, and it's definitely not because you're incapable of connection. This pattern often forms when your system learns that closeness equals risk. So instead of moving toward people, you manage distance. Not because you don't want connection, but because part of you believes connection might cost you something you can't afford to lose. And once you see it like that, everything starts to make more sense. Because what looks like avoidance is often protection in disguise. Number 1, you associate closeness with loss of control. Not consciously, but somewhere along the way, getting close stopped feeling safe and started feeling unpredictable. Maybe emotions felt overwhelming. Maybe people were inconsistent. Maybe you had to rely on yourself more than others. So now, when someone gets close, your system doesn't relax. It tightens, like you're bracing for something. It's like standing too close to the edge of a cliff. Even if the view is beautiful, your body focuses on the drop. You're not cold. You're cautious. And that's where it gets interesting, because the more you care, the stronger that reaction can become. Number 2, you've learned to self-regulate without depending on others. You don't easily reach out. You don't naturally lean on people because you've built your own way of handling things. And on the surface, that looks like strength. But underneath, it can quietly turn into isolation. It's like carrying your own weight for so long that accepting help starts to feel unnatural, even uncomfortable. So when someone tries to get closer, to support you, to understand you, you instinctively pull back. Not because you don't want it, but because it disrupts a system that's kept you safe for a long time. You're not distant. You're self-reliant to a fault. But here's the part people miss. This independence can sometimes become a wall instead of a shield. Number 3, your nervous system reads intimacy as overstimulation. This is where it gets deeper. Because it's not just a mindset, it's a physical response. Closeness can activate your threat detection system. Not because something is wrong, but because your brain has learned to associate emotional intensity with potential danger. So instead of feeling calm and connected, you feel restless, overwhelmed, drained. It's like turning up the volume too high. Even a good song becomes unbearable if it's too loud for too long. So you step away to regulate, to quiet things down. You're not uninterested, you're overloaded. And that changes the narrative completely. Number 4, You protect yourself by minimizing your own needs. You've trained yourself not to expect too much, not to ask for too much, not to need too much, because needing can feel risky. So you downplay your emotions. You convince yourself you're fine. You stay low maintenance. But over time, that creates distance. Because real connection requires some level of openness. It's like trying to build a bridge, but only placing half the pieces. You're not incapable of connection. You're just protecting yourself from disappointment. And the strange part? The more you suppress your needs, the harder it becomes for others to meet them. Number 5. You fear being seen and not being chosen. This one sits quietly in the background. You might not think about it directly, but it shapes your behavior in subtle ways. Because letting someone see you fully means giving them the chance to walk away. So instead, you control the distance. You don't fully open up. You don't fully invest. That way, if something ends, it feels like your choice, not rejection. It's like keeping one foot out the door, just in case. You're not emotionally unavailable, you're emotionally guarded. And that difference matters more than you think. Now here's the beautiful contradiction. You crave deep connection, but you also protect yourself from it. You want to be understood, but being fully seen feels exposing. You value closeness, but too much of it feels overwhelming. So you exist in this quiet tension, wanting more while holding back, moving closer, then stepping away. And from the outside, it looks confusing. But from the inside, it makes perfect sense. Because both sides are trying to protect you. One is reaching, the other is shielding. And neither is wrong. But this is where it can turn, because sometimes what once protected you starts limiting you. When distance becomes automatic, when you leave before something has the chance to grow, when you convince yourself you don't need something, you actually do. That's when protection slowly becomes avoidance. Not because you're broken, but because your system hasn't updated yet. It's still responding to old patterns in new situations. And awareness is the first shift. Not forcing yourself to change overnight, not pushing yourself into discomfort, but noticing. Noticing when you pull back. Noticing what you feel right before it happens. Noticing the difference between real danger and old fear. Because that space, that moment of awareness, that's where choice begins. And that's where everything starts to change. Because maybe you don't need to stop protecting yourself. Maybe you just need to update what you're protecting yourself from. You're not someone who can't connect. You're someone who learned to survive without it. And now, you're slowly learning that connection doesn't have to mean losing yourself. It can mean finding parts of yourself you had to hide. So the question isn't, why am I like this? The question is, what is this protecting me from? And is it still true? Because once that answer shifts, so does everything else. So tell me this. Are you someone who pulls away to feel safe? or someone who stays, even when it feels uncomfortable? And if this hit deeper than expected, the next thing you need to understand is why your mind replays conversations and overthinks every detail. Because that pattern connects directly to this one.